Let's see, are we live? I think we are. I just need to check real quick. Here we are. Let's see, are we live? I think we are. I just need to check real quick. Oh, I'm over here. Okay. All right. So, hey, everybody, this is a YouTube live and a Facebook live. So I'm going to check over on Facebook. This was an impromptu live. So that's why it's a little bit more disorganized than usual. So one quick second, we're almost on our way, and then I'll break open why we're doing this. So do that, share, copy link. How is everybody? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. That would be fantastic. All right, so doing one quick thing. Sorry, folks. Don't have my producer with me today. So we're figuring this out. All right. Okay, so it looks like I can share that. Awesome. Great. All righty. So how is everybody? Let's see. We have that going. We have that going. We have that going. One last notification. And then we are off and running. We are live. All right. Well, we are not going to delay much, if anything, here. So we are talking about marketing automation. And there's really three reasons that I wanted to go live with you today. The first reason was because this question about marketing automation came up in the group. So I wanted to, in the group that we have, Joseph Gonzalez and I started a podcast, and it debuted yesterday. So if you haven't checked it out, I'll link it down below so you can check it out. It's well worth the listen and the watch. And so we have a group, and there's questions about lead magnets. There's questions about follow-ups. How do you actually send over the lead magnet once you have the lead? How can you do some marketing automation? So it was such a thought-provoking question. And it was being asked a good amount. So I thought, well, let's actually go live and answer that question. So that was the first reason that I wanted to go live right now. And then the second reason is because I felt a little bit guilty for the YouTube community that yesterday we attempted to do the live podcast that we had planned, except the broadcast stream just did not work on us. So that's actually a big reason. And the third reason that I wanted to do it was so one was to answer a question, two was out of guilt, and then third was to test if I could go live in multiple groups, along with my own group, along with YouTube. And turns out you can. So that is the real, that's everything. So those are the three reasons that we're going to go live. So let's jump right into it. If you have any questions, don't hold back. I'm monitoring as many pages as I possibly can right here. So if any comments, questions, concerns come up, I'm happy to field those. So just let me know. I'll open Facebook here, and then I have YouTube opened over here. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen so you see what I am talking about. That's the best way to go about it. So marketing automation. I'll move myself over here so you should be able to see the screen at this point. I'll just confirm it. I have a little bit of lag over here. Once we do that, should be able to see me over here. Awesome. All right, so marketing automation. What is it? Well, marketing automation basically means doing the follow-up when your leads come in with as little intervention from you personally. So that means you don't have to do things manually. Whenever a lead comes in, that's where we're going to take off from this video. So when we're talking about marketing automation, we are counting on the leads already having been generated. So it's that follow-up that sometimes gets us in trouble. It's that follow-up that either the call doesn't get made, the email doesn't go out, the text doesn't get made. Essentially, that follow-up is really, again, what gets us in trouble. So that's what I wanted to solve for today. So let's just jump right into it. We don't want to spend too much time on this because it's on a Friday. So I fully acknowledge that, and I appreciate you making the time. So the workflow, let's look at it from a very practical level. The workflow, the lead arrives. So however you get the lead, whether that's Instagram ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, just normal posting, marketplace, what have you, the lead arrives and you're either going to receive the name, you're going to receive the email or the phone number or some sort, or Facebook Messenger, some sort of identifier or some way to communicate with your lead. Ideally, if you just get names, then you're in trouble. So you do want to have a way to reach back out to that lead. And again, you may be asking for everything. You may be asking for the address. You may be asking for their timeline on moving. You may be asking what they're pre-qualified towards, all that fun stuff. But at bare minimum, we're going to go with name, email, and phone number. That's what you're asking for, and that's what you're receiving in your leads. So once the lead arrives, the question comes up of how do you follow up? And there's basically two ways to do that. You're either going to follow up manually or you're going to follow up automatically. So what does that look like? On the manual standpoint, you have you can do that personally. So a lead comes in, let's just say Facebook ads, and you promised, it doesn't matter what you promised. We'll get into lead magnets on the next slide. You promised, let's just say, a cheat sheet of some kind. Well, you have to deliver that information, and you have to deliver that information in some way. So if you do that manually, it looks like you manually sending an email, and then you manually texting that information, and then you manually making the call, or having or somebody in your office is going to make that call. So that is more of a manual follow-up. Now, depending on the size of the campaign that you're running, the scale of the campaign, that may work out for you or that may not work out for you. It just really depends on the scope. So where most of us want to be is on the automatic side. So you want to follow up automatically. So you want as little intervention as possible. So you don't have to send out that email automatically. You don't have to send that text automatically, and you don't have to call yourself unless you want to. You can do voicemail drops. You can have an ISA takeover, and there are so many different ways to do this automatically. So I'll just mention a few broad ones, and then we'll drill down into the lead magnet, which is the big part of the video that I want to address. When we're talking about automatically, you can do all of this with a CRM. You can do this with a CRM like Realty Juggler. That's a low-cost option. You can do this with a CRM, let's say KV Core. That does cost a little bit more, but you have the ability to email, to text, and to do voicemail drops, so you don't have to follow up manually. So again, this is on the automatic side. If you don't have any one of those CRMs, or if you don't have a CRM that can do any one of those things, then you can piecemeal together certain actions. You can get a software like Zapier, so Zapier.com. And Zapier is a way to connect. It's a connector between different software. It's going to connect your Facebook ads, as an example, to your Gmail. So whenever you are promising whatever it is, a cheat sheet of some kind, it automatically sends the lead whatever you promised. So there's ways around the CRM, so you don't have to go down a full CRM option. You can do email autoresponders as well. There's just different ways to automate. So there's another video in this channel that I'll be sure to link down below that speaks more about that. About that part of it, about what to look for with the CRM, what to look for with email autoresponders, how to connect things on a budget. So that's about the workflow, but I really want to dive into the mechanics of the lead magnet delivery. That's where the question was posed. That's how it was posed on what do I actually do when the lead comes in, and how do I actually deliver what I promised? So basically, there's two types of lead magnets that you can deliver. You can deliver a lead magnet that is static, meaning there's no change. It doesn't change regardless if the information comes in today, if it comes in a month from now, if the lead comes in a year from now, the information is going to be the same for the most part. So it's something that is known as evergreen. It doesn't necessarily change from moment to moment, from hour to hour, or day by day. So that's the static lead magnet. Now, the other option is the dynamic lead magnet, which we'll get to in the next point. But when it comes to the static, we're talking about cheat sheets, we're talking about guides, we're talking about videos that aren't going to change with frequency. So how do we actually deliver that? We talked about the lead coming in, then we talked about, emails going out, texts going out, calls being made. But let's just say we had that cheat sheet. Well, how do I actually get this cheat sheet in the hands of whoever wants it? So it's very simple. If you want to go down a more manual way of doing it, all you have to do is create the cheat sheet, whatever it is. If it's a quick reference guide on how to sell your house or how to buy a house, all you have to do is put it on a Word doc and then upload it to Google Drive as a PDF. It is that simple. So the Google Drive is going to create a unique URL that is shareable. So you're able to share that URL, which is going to be a link to the cheat sheet that you have, and you're able to share that link with anybody. Now, a little pro tip, that URL is going to be super long. That URL is going to have 40 characters, 50 characters. So you're going to want to shorten it. And that's a link shortener where you shorten the link to something like 6 to 8 characters. So a common website for that is bit.ly, B-I-T-L-Y. It'll shorten your link so it doesn't take all of these characters and use them up in your email or in your text. So it makes it less threatening. So that is that's all you have to do. You just take that document and then upload it to Google Drive, and you have that URL. Now, there are some landing page generators and CRMs that have document storage. So it just depends on the landing page generator or the website or the CRMs or the email autoresponders that you have, if they have that capability. So document storage, even if they do have document storage, it generally isn't more than a gigabyte, if that. So you are limited in the size of the cheat sheet or document that you're trying to upload into the landing page generators or the CRMs. So it's not always the best solution, but it is a solution. So all you have to do is upload the document. Instead of doing it on Google Drive, you upload it to your landing page generator or your CRM. So you again have that link, or it can be used as an attachment in the email that you send out. So I hope that this is making sense. If there's any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I lost all, I don't know where the chat is at this point. So if there's any questions, please feel free to let me know. I'll make sure that I don't leave for today until it is answered. So until I have all of the questions answered. Now, if you have a video, that's also another question that comes up. Well, what if I have a video? I would suggest that you go with the free plan everywhere you go, so you can upload it to YouTube. Now, the downside to YouTube is that YouTube has a lot of noise, meaning whenever you share a YouTube link, and you're going to see that with this actual broadcast, there's going to be competitors. There's going to be other videos around the live stream. So that may not be the best, place for you to house your video. So in that case, I suggest that you go with Vimeo. It has a little bit more privacy, or it has a bit more reduced noise. That way, whenever you're sending the video of whatever you promised, if it was a how to sell your home in less than 10 days without an agent, if you were doing something like that and you were doing it in a video, you're able to do that and upload it to Vimeo, and that way it's warehoused there. So again, we're talking about the mechanics of the lead magnet delivery. How do I actually take my videos, take my documents, take my whatever I promised, and actually put it into the hands of the people that want them? So again, this is taken in consideration that we're talking about static items, static lead magnets that don't change. Now, we know that things do change. And depending on the marketing that you do, you're going to have to take this into consideration. If you're doing dynamic lead magnets, a common example and a very good example that actually came up in the group chat was, what about the list of homes under 300,000? What about those? Because those change. We have homes that will go into contract, that will be sold. So that's changing all the time. This static does not make the most sense. That's not the best way of doing it. So with the dynamic information like that, you could do a manual updated PDF and then upload it to Google Drive. So you go to the MLS and you take all of the listings that are available at that point in time, convert them into a PDF and upload them to Google Drive. That is not the most effective use of your time. So that's going to change all the time. And I don't encourage it, but if you had absolutely no other option, then that is an option, not the best, but it is an option. Now, the automated way of doing that, if you're delivering something that changes, again, that list of homes that's below $300,000, and you want it to update every time a property goes into pending, every time a property goes into sold, and it just keeps the same filters, then all you have to do is go to your MLS. A lot of MLSs do this, but not all of them. So just be aware of that. But go to the MLS and do a save search, which is going to give you a dynamic link. So that link will be updating live as properties go into contract, as new properties get listed, and properties get sold. So you have that link that you can share. Again, you can put that link into an email, into a text, into a letter. I don't know why you would do a letter, but you have that link to share with people without needing to update it every single time. Now, you can also use IDX websites. So depending on where you have your website or where you got your website, you're going to find that there's an IDX link so people can search for properties there. All you have to do there is filter out based on the criteria of what you're promising. Again, if it's a list of homes under 300,000 and they're all single stories, then that's all you have to do. You just have to search for that criteria, save that link that comes out, because it's going to be a unique link, which is based off of the search, and then you share that link. It is that simple. And that link will continue to update because it is measuring based off of the filters. It's not necessarily measuring based off of the properties that are there. So they're continuing to update. And then there are CRMs out there that do that for you. There are CRMs out there that will update it, that you can create links and will update automatically as well. So it's kind of a combination of those, because a lot of CRMs now have the ability to connect directly to the MLS. And if they don't, then they'll have an IDX integration at some point. So when we're talking about that dynamic lead magnet, that's one way to send out a list of properties without having to do the manual way of copying and pasting, convert it into a PDF and uploading it to Google Drive, and having to do that either every day or every week, depending on how much difference there is between the previous version. So that's a way that's going to save you a lot of time. You don't have to have as much intervention. And this is really the system that you can use to leverage your entire business. You could have somebody else doing this. I fully acknowledge that. However, if there are tools, if there are systems that you can automate your business, why wouldn't you want to take that opportunity? And if you do have assistants, if you do have other people that are helping you in your business, their time is best done doing something else. Is best used doing other activities that you can't automate. So this is a great way for you to systematize. This is a great way for you to automate the follow-up. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, as a reminder, I'm super excited that we have launched our podcast, Joseph Gonzalez and I. So on Thursdays, be on the lookout, because we will be going live next week here at this here being YouTube and on Facebook and anywhere else that will have us at 9 a.m. Central. So stay tuned for the podcast. I'll link it down below. If there's any questions that come up, don't hesitate to reach out.